What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream from the Scalar Learning Channel. And today we are in SAT week full swing. All right, we got SAT coming up this Saturday, so I'm trying to get you more and more content every day. Today, Thursday, and then we're going to do a huge review Friday. Probably going to do it Friday morning. Somebody's asking, hey, do you watch this now or do you come back later and watch it on double speed? Again, that's a personal preference. It's up to you. You're welcome to do it later. The thing is, if you watch it now, I'll be taking questions and interacting with you guys, so you can ask me questions in the chat and I'll do my best to answer. The only caveat is I got to get through 23 problems in the next half an hour, and then I got to start tutoring again. So I'm going to have to go as quickly as possible to make sure we get this all done. But this is a series that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I think it's super valuable. I've already done the hardest problems from 2019, 2020. Now we're on to 2021 tomorrow. I'll do 2022, and that's it. So without further ado, let's do this. So we're starting with March 2021 with the, what is this? No calculator section. So it says, the graph in the XY plane, the equation above contains the point A comma B. If A is between -1 and 1, which of the following is not a possible value of B? So the way you want to approach a problem like this is you can honestly choose a value, right? I can choose 0, I can choose whatever. But the main idea is this, like if you try it out, what you'll see is if I do plug in 0, right, for X, I get -1, I get -1 times, what is it? -1 times 1 times 2. So I'm choosing a value. So I plug it in, boom, 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 and I get a negative. I get -2, right? Well, so -2, so which one, which one of the following is not a possible value of B? So obviously, what am I doing here? So obviously A is out because we know how to get that. And now the question is it, can it be any of these? The thing is, because it's between -1 and 1, if it's 1, oh no, it can be 1 also, sorry. So it can also be +1, which means you would zero it out with this guy, so we can eliminate 0. So now the question is can it be -1 or +1? So my thing is, I think it's going to be it can't be +1. I think it's got to be a negative, and I'm just going to confirm that really quickly. So any values in between -1. Oh, by the way, we could do a sign chart, actually. You don't have to do these, but sorry, I'm just like working through this in real time. So it's -2, -1, and 1. So these are all my zeros of the function. And then you can kind of see, sometimes this can be helpful. You can see that in between these values, let's see, we can do a sign chart. So less than -2, that would be negative times negative times negative is negative. In between here would be positive, negative, positive. So you see, all the values between -1 and 1 have to be negative, or at the end points, they can be 0. So the value can't be as positive, so D is the winner. 13. What is the graph of y equals 2 times 3 to the x? So I chose this one because sometimes you'd be like, I don't remember what an exponential looks like. But the beauty of this is you can choose a couple points, right? I can plug in 1, I can plug in 0, and maybe I can plug in -1, all right? Just really, you only need 2, but 3 is good. So if I plug in 1, I get 6. If I plug in 0, 3 to the 0th is 1 times 2 is 2. I plug in -1, that's 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. So now we'll go through. 1 comma 6, yes. B does not have 1 comma 6, out. 1 comma 6, no 1 comma 6. We're already down with 1 comma 6 to A or C. Now it has a y-intercept of 2. This has a y-intercept of 3. C is out. So look how nice and easy it is to figure out the equation by a couple points. Yes, you know it's exponential. Yes, you know that 2 stretches it and increases the y-intercept. But those plugging in those points, beautiful. All right, number 15. The function, this models the number of water hyacinths in a population over time, where A of t is the number of hyacinths, t is time, days, blah, blah, blah. Which is the best interpretation of 2 to the t over 6? So what this is saying is, and t is the time in days, this is saying that it's doubling. It is doubling over a certain period of time, because that's how an exponential is laid out. How many days, because t is supposed to represent the number of days. When does this first double to 24? Well, that's when t is equal to 6, because 6 over 6 is 1, 2 to the 1 is 2, times 12 would give us 24. So it's starting at time 0 with a population of 12. It takes 6 days to double. So that means the number of water hyacinths doubled every 6 days. B is the best interpretation of that. Boom, done. Number 20, the given equation K is a constant. The equation has no solution. Another reason why I chose this problem is you want to know instantly when no solution means for a linear is that the x's are going to be matched up and these y-intercepts, if you will, the constants will be different. Constants are already different. To have no solution, the k must equal 1/2. So 1/2 is the winner. Done. Now we're in the calculator section. This is question 25. I thought this one was interesting. So it's geometry. In the figure shown, point O is the center. One vertex of the square lies on the circle. The opposite is the vertex point O. If the area of the shaded region is 36 pi minus 18. So let's pause on that real quick. What are they talking about? What is this 36 pi? It's probably the area of the circle, which means area of a circle is radius squared times pi, which means the radius is probably 6. 6 squared is 36. So we know that. That's pretty cool. And then 18 is probably the area of the square. All right. So now we have to get to this point where we have to figure out, we have to figure out the side lengths of the square, knowing that the area is 18. Okay. So a lot of these questions, these circle, other questions like circle square hybrids or circle triangle hybrids, you're going to want to draw on another radius. That's almost always what you're going to want to do. Since I know the radius is 6, now I've got enough information to start piecing together the side lengths. Well, guess what? It's a square. That means I've created a 45, 45, 90 triangle, which means that the lengths of the side to get from the diagonal to the lengths of the side, we divide by √2. This is on the special right triangles formula at the front of this section, so you can refresh your memory there if you need to. But basically now the side lengths are 6 over rad 2, excuse me. So to get the perimeter, I multiply it by 4, and I get 24 over rad 2. But of course, we don't want a rad 2 in the denominator. We don't see that here. So we multiply by rad 2 over rad 2 to rationalize. We get 24 rad 2 over rad 2 times itself is just 2. Simplify to 12 rad 2. C is the winner. Done. 26. Which of the following is equivalent to this? Now, this is a nice factoring question. It's just a little awkward because it's not a quadratic. It's to the 4th power, quartic. So we apply the same principles, okay? We don't even think about it. We say this is x squared, and then what multiplies 16 adds to -8. That would be -4 and -4. So we're just factoring like it's a quadratic. We just changed the leading degree to 2 instead of 1. And now we got this factored nicely. If I were to merge these two, because it's two of the same binomial, check it out. I get exactly what we have in 2. So I know 2 is legit, so we can cross off this and this. Now the question is A legit? Again, if you're stuck here, you can choose a value for x, like because it's a calculator section. Choose like 2 or 3. And if you want to be extra careful, choose 2 values. Plug them into the original, plug them into these. If they're all equal the same value after evaluating, then you know they're both legit. But the way they did it algebraically is they look at these two quantities and like, oh, difference of squares. That's x minus 2, x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 2. And then what did they do? They merged these guys into x plus 2 squared. They merged these guys into x minus 2 squared. So 1 is also legit. C is the winner. Boom, done. Number 29. Bridges have space between their sections to allow for expansion and contraction. Space is known as the gap width. Okay, this is a pretty hard problem. Weird, like, equations and stuff. The size of the gap width, WT, in inches is a linear function of temperature in T degrees Fahrenheit. So we got T and we got W. That's like your X and your Y, right? And then for a certain bridge, the gap width is 2.875. I love making these tables when it's 40 degrees and 1.875 when it's 100 degrees. Okay, right off the bat, we've got 2 coordinates. So what do I want with the linear equation? First thing, I want to know the slope. So perfectly set up. Let's subtract down. That minus that is 1 over 40 minus 100, which is -60. So I know that my slope for the right line is -1 over 60. These are linear equations in point slope format, basically. Well, this is the wrong slope. That's the wrong slope. Goodbye, goodbye. It's one of these two. And then the question is, which has the correct format? Well, we know a coordinate is 42.875. So really what we should be doing is it should be T minus 40 in the mix, not plus 40 to get that correct point slope value. You can double check by plugging 40 into both these equations. If I plug 40 in up here, this zeroes out and I get 2.875 as I should, which means A is the winner. Done. 38. Okay, this is from the free response question. The table shows several values of x and the corresponding values of f of x. The function is defined by this. What is the value of b, aka what's the y-intercept? For these, I don't even think, I just go. Cool, I got 2 coordinates. let's calculate the slope. Let's put it in point slope. Boom, boom, boom. So the slope, subtract down. 106 minus 51 is negative 45 over 2 minus 3, which is negative 1. So I got a slope of 45, and now let's do point slope. Y minus, let's choose the top value, 106 equals positive 45, right? Negative 45 divided by negative 1 is 45, times x minus 2. And we want the y-intercept. That's the b value, so we'll distribute. Y minus 106 equals 45x minus 90. What's up from Tunisia? Amazing. And then last but not least, we'll add 106. Add 106. Boom. I get y equals 45x. 106 plus minus 90 is 16. So my y-intercept is 16. Boom. Done. I'm going to just double check that. So I can see with the slope, it's going down by 45. So at 1, I'm going down by 45. That's 51. At 0, that's where the y-intercept is. I'm going down by, oops, did I make a mistake? 45. Oh, what am I doing? 61. Sorry, just double checking my work. 45 is 61, then go down by 45 again, and that is indeed 16. 16 is the winner. Double verification. Done. All right. That's awesome. Now we're moving on to May 2021. Hardest questions here. Let's go. Given system of equations, k is a constant. System has exactly one solution. What could be the value of k? Here's the deal. To get one solution, you only need one thing to be true, and that is the slopes cannot be equal, okay? So guess what? When the slope is 5, the other one has a slope of 2. That's legit, but they can't be the same because then it's either going to be no solution or infinite solution. So 2 is out. So the only viable answer is 2, 5, or, B is the winner. Done. 15. The given function b models the number of flower beetles in a certain area where t represents the number of days after June 1st, which is the following is the best interpretation of 1.11. So again, we're talking about exponential growth because that is greater than 1. How much is it growing by? Well, it's the overage. It's the value over 1. That's 0.11, aka 11%. So it's growing by 11% every day. So I like to think about it first before I look at the answers. And this is wrong. No, the initial value is 100. That's the initial value on June 1st. And the area increased by 1.11. No, that would be like a linear function. It would be like 101.11, 102.22. That's not what's happening here. Now we're just going to take approximately. No, this makes no sense. This is pretty good. By a factor of 1.11 or by 11% is how we said it, but it's pretty much the same thing. D is the winner. Done. 18. The graph the given equation of the circle, what is the radius? So I chose this one because it's a hard circle problem because it's not in standard form. Otherwise, you'd be like, oh, it's square root of 40. But the giveaway that it's not square root of 40 is we can't have an irrational number like that for an answer. So we got to get it into standard form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to space it out like this, and then I got a lot of completing the square to do here. So to complete the square, I add half of this squared, which is 16, but I got to add it to this side. Add half of this squared, which is 25, so I add 25. Now, I could go ahead and factor everything here on the left-hand side. That would give me the circle, center. That's great, but that's not what it's asking. It's asking for the radius. So once I've done this nice completing the square, all I got to do is add up the right-hand side, 40 plus 41, which is 81, and this is the radius squared. So to get the radius, I take the square root of 81 is 9. Boom, done. Number 20. And thank you, Samantha. You're very welcome. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. In this given expression, a is a constant. The expression is equivalent to x to the 6th. What is the value of a? So watch what I'm going to do. Immediately, I'm going to rewrite that square root as to the 1/2 power, and I'm going to rewrite it like this to the a power. Now, this whole thing is equal to x to the 6th. Watch this. Now we're going to multiply in. A times that is a over 2. So it's x cubed to the a over 2. Then multiply that in. And I get x to the 3a over 2 equals x to the 6th. When the bases are the same, I can just be like, goodbye. 3a, here, let me do it like this. 3a over 2 equals 6. Multiply both sides by 2. 3a equals 12. Divide both sides by 3. Divide both sides by 3. A equals 4 for the win, and we're just going to double check. So that to the 4th power, right? So this is the same as x to the 3/2, and then you take it to the 4th power. Multiply in. 12 over 2 is 6. Verified. Done. 22. Solution to which system of inequalities represent the shaded region. So I thought this inequalities one is pretty cool. Now, the deal is this top line, it's obviously everything below that has been shaded. Well, how do I do an equation for a line like that horizontal? It's just y equals and 7, but it's everything below it. So we'd say y is less than or equal to 7. I have that in A and B. So C and D are out. These would be vertical lines. We don't have vertical lines, right? Now the question is this one. But I can already tell you it's B. The reason why is because it's shaded above that diagonal line. When that's the case, it needs to be y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 1. So B is going to be the winner, but you can see the slope is up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Y-intercept is 1. Boom. And that's that. 23. Paulina has 28 books in her collection. The frequency table summarizes the number of pages in each book. If she buys a new book that is 62 pages, boom. These are in order, right? Yeah. How will that impact the mean and median numbers of pages of books in her collection? So here's the deal. I already know that my mean is in this range somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere in this range. This is obviously going to increase the mean. Because when you get a value that's like an outlier bigger than your current mean, it's going to increase the mean. So this is out and this is out. Now the question is about the median, right? Well, where's the median? I chose this problem specifically because there's so many values, 28, that we can't write them all out in order, do our cross off, blah, 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 and be like, yes, the median changed. Too long, okay? You can enter it in your calculator, but that's also annoying. Instead, when there's 28 books, here's my method. Divide it by 2. It's even, so there's going to be 2 values in the middle. The 14th value and the 15th value will comprise the median, the average of those two. Where's the 14th value? 1, 2, 3, 7, 12, and then 13 through 17 are in this pocket. Well, that's going to be the 14th and the 15th value. That means the median is currently 50, right? Well, what about when I add this new value? Now there's 29 values. Well, guess what? The 15th value is also going to be in this pocket still. It'll be 12 through 16. No, sorry, it'll be 13 through 17. The 15th value is still going to be 50. So the median will remain the same. C is the winner. Done. All right, 27, an equation for the graph is shown. Boom, boom, boom. What is the value of B? Well, this one is cool because it's in factored, aka intercept form. And we can see that that corresponds with that x-intercept right there of 1. But this probably corresponds with this intercept right there, which is at -3. So what's the value of B? Well, here's the question, right? We got two values, 3 and -3. We know the x-intercept is at -3, but B is not -3. B is +3. Why? Because when I plug -3 in for this, -3 plus 3 is 0, and that's what we want. So that shows us that the value of B is actually +3. Boom, done. All right, and 37. The functions f and g above B is a constant. F times g is this. What is the value of B? So we got equivalent expressions. They said f of x times g of x equals this. Well, guess what? I'm just going to FOIL. Boom. So that's 3x to the 4th. And that's what I want you to do in a lot of these. If you're not sure exactly what to do, just simplify. Do what it says. It says as you're multiplying these two to get this, let's multiply them. 9x cubed plus 3bx cubed minus 9bx squared. And they're saying that, you know, what is the value of B? Well, I don't have to look at every term. I see that this obviously matches with this. That's good. The middle terms match with this guy. But the nice thing is this outer term has to match with this. So -3x squared has to equal -9bx squared. So what times -9 is going to give me -3? B has to be 1/3. Boom, done. You can double check it here. 1/3 here, that would give me +1x cubed plus -9x cubed gives me -8x cubed. Double verified. Boom, done. All right, we're on the last test, and I got to wrap in 9 minutes, actually. All right, so this one was kind of interesting because I noticed triangular prisms cropping up a lot in 2021 and 2022, so don't be surprised if they show up on this next SAT on Saturday. What is the volume in cubic units? Okay, so volume of a triangular prism, just like any other prism. Calculate the area of the base, which is the shape that is kind of extended backwards like this. So So the shape of this, the area of this triangle is 6 times 6 divided by 2, which is 18, multiplied by the height, 180, boom, done. 13. Line L shown the xy plane, which is defined as an equation of line L. Well, let's piece it together. And again, I'm not even looking at the choices yet. Give it to me in slope-intercept form, then we'll deal with this. So y equals a slope of negative 2/5, right? Because it's going down to the left. Negative 2, going down by 2 over by 5x plus a y-intercept of 1. Okay, but we have to get into this format, aka standard form. So first I'm going to move the x over. 2/5 x plus y equals 2. And obviously, all these have either 2 or 5 in front of x. Well, it makes the most sense to multiply everything by 5 to get all integers. And then 5 times 2/5 is 2x. 5 times y is 5y equals 10. So my answer is 2x plus 5y equals 10. To verify, I'm going to plug in 0 for x, 2 for y. Boom, I get 10. Then I'm going to plug in 0 for y, 5 for x, get 10, double verified, triple verified, actually, boom, done. All right, 20. In the given equation, b is a positive constant. The sum of the solutions is 5. What is the value of b? All right, so one of the solutions is obviously 0 because everything is set equal to 0. So that's what will be the answer for that. This one, the solution is negative 3 because negative 3 plus 3 is 0. That would 0 it out and make this a true equation. The last solution is b. b minus b is 0. So they said the value of b, so they said the sum of the solutions is 5, which means negative 3 plus b is 5. Add 3 to both sides. That means b is a value of 8. Boom, done. All right. Next. Hey, what's up, Shayla, man? Awesome. Thank you. And I'm glad you're finding it useful and enjoying it. Recommendations for pacing. I will say this quickly. I have a video. Actually, I have a video on timing for the SAT, so I would just watch that because I'm kind of pressed for time. So just search timing on the SAT math, and it should pop up as the first one, I think. In the given function, fk is a positive constant, which of the following could be the graph of xy. All right, so this one's interesting too because these aren't tested so often, but I've seen them crop up more. Now, if you remember in your Algebra 2 class, what's on the bottom is going to determine my vertical asymptote, meaning what value is going to make the denominator go to 0. That's when x equals negative 1. That's my vertical asymptote. So I should have an imaginary invisible line at x equals negative 1 for the right answer. So that kind of looks like it could be for A. For B, the invisible line is at positive 1. That's out. C looks kind of right. And then let's go to D. D, again, it looks like it's in the positive zone. So D we can eliminate as well. So now we're into one of these two. So the thing is, what I'm noticing is at negative 1, right, as we get close to negative 1 but still above negative 1, we're getting these really negative values for C. For A, we're getting these really highly positive values. So, like, you know, if I imagine that, oh, by the way, let's designate a number for K. Let's just say 5. 5 minus x over 1 plus x. Doesn't matter. So then let's say x is like negative a half. So if it's negative a half, but it's on the left or the right side of negative 1, I should be getting a positive value. If it's C, I should be getting a negative value. So 5 minus negative 1/2 is 5.5 over 1 plus negative 1/2 is 0.5. That would go in 11 times. Sure does look like A is the winner. If we need any more verification, plug in something to the left of negative 1, like negative 2. Should be all negative or all positive. So just to verify, if I plug in negative 2, I get 5 minus negative 2 is 7 over negative 2 plus 1, which is negative 1. I do get a negative answer. A is double verified. Boom, done. 23. Function f is the property that if point A, B is on the graph, blah, 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 then point, oh yeah, this one's so crazy. This one's so crazy. So then A plus 1 of 1/3 B is also on the graph. So I have to remember how to do this one because this one I had to think about. So if you increment it by 1, oh yeah, then the function value will be 1/3 of what it was. So, oh yeah, this is how I figured it out. So if I plug in, oh, sorry, it's gotta be B, and I'm gonna show you why. Okay, it's got to be B because every time it increments, we're multiplying by an additional 1/3. That's what's happening. So imagine this. I'm going to plug in 0 for x first. If I plug in 0, I get 12. Then I'm going to increment my x value by 1. I plug in 1, and I get 1/3 to the 1 power is 1/3 times 12, which is 4. Look at that. A goes up by 1. B becomes 1/3 of what it was. Let's do it one more time. Increment it, and then I plug in, and now I plug in 2. That's 1/3 squared, which is 1/9. 12/9, that's 4/3. Again, I'm getting 1/3 of the previous answer, which verifies that B is the winner. Done. 27. That's a really hard problem. Sorry I don't have more time, but that's really tough. Hey, thanks, Robert. I appreciate it for that test and the rest. Awesome. If you guys, I got to share that with you guys, that episode. Which equation is the most appropriate quadratic model for the data shown in the scatter plot? So I'm looking at this and I'm kind of seeing a nice little exponential or quadratic, something like that. Now, let's look at our answer choices, right? So I'm looking at, by the way, I see a really nice value here. Apparently when X is 7, I should be getting around 11, approximately. Okay, let's just say approximately. Well, if I plug 7 into this, I get 49 times 4. That's huge. If I plug 7 into this, I get 49 times 2. That's still huge. This one, 49 times a half, that's, remember, I'm supposed to be getting 11. That's still like 24.5. But this one makes a lot of sense. If I plug in 7, I get 49. 1/4 of that is about 12. So that's pretty close to this. You know, and I can try another value, right? If I plug in 5, I should be getting about 6. 5 times 5 is 25. 1/4 of that is a little more than 6. Double verified, done. All right, last question. We did it. We're going to do it in the time frame, so I'm really excited. Here we go. What is the sum of the solutions to given equation? Now, you might be like, wait a minute, this is obvious. It's -2, 5, and -2. We add them all up, but it's not that simple because it's not set equal to 0. So instead here, what we're going to have to do is FOIL and simplify. So x plus 2, those parentheses are irrelevant, equals x squared. 2x, -5x, that's -3x. And then -5 times 2 is -10. Subtract x from both sides, that's -4x. Subtract 2 from both sides, that's -12. Now we got a nice quadratic equal to 0, and we factor. What multiplies to -12 adds to -4. That would be -6 and +2. So my two solutions are what zeros this out, which is 6, and what zeros this out, which is -2. Last but not least, they said the sum of the solutions. Oh, we could have done another shortcut, by the way, but it's okay. 6 plus -2 is 4. Boom, done. The other shortcut is the sum of the solutions is -b, which is -4, over a, which is 1. -4 over 1, +4 over 1. Double verified, done. Okay, we did it. Let me quickly look at the comments. Hey, Himesh, I'm so happy to hear that. And we're going to do more videos tomorrow and a huge one on Friday. So make sure to check that. Moyad, I appreciate that suggestion. Lots of different ways to do this. I just want to give you guys my once-over for the hardest questions, in my opinion, from 2021. Tomorrow, we're doing the hardest questions from 2022. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Alexis, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. I wish you all the best of luck. If you could click that like button, it helps me so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. And I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Take it easy.